If you are seeing this video, the odds are you work for local or state government. Public servants or public sector workers spend every day working to improve or maintain their communities or the communities they work in. We know most public sector workers have a sense of purpose and fulfillment in the work they are doing, even though it is often not recognized. If you are watching this video, we recognize you and your commitment to the community you are working for. Today, we are working to develop an understanding of how to best serve the communities we work for when our service and dedication are most needed. As stated in the previous video, Intro to Emergency Management and Initial Response, some emergencies expand past the scope of the responsible department or agency and require help, support, and assistance from non-emergency personnel. While our first responders have spent countless hours training, preparing, and responding to daily emergencies, it's obvious during large-scale emergencies we need a process and system for all agencies to function effectively with life-saving response and recovery efforts. The National Incident Management System, which includes the Incident Command System, was developed out of many emergency response failures and has been fine-tuned and tested over multiple decades and adopted federally in 2004. An emergency is no time to reinvent the wheel or repeat mistakes that have already been made by other agencies. This system does not promise a perfect response, but it does support an effective response. Accountability and resource management. It is critical that all staff have an emergency mindset and do not work with a business as usual mentality. This is one reason we ask incident staff to wear high visibility vests while working on an incident and to implement incident information management processes such as situation reports, staff accountability through shift briefings and check-ins, along with shift debriefings and checkouts where vests are turned in for the night. Having incident staff turn vests into supervisor at the end of each shift ensures all incident staff check out and go through a quick shift debriefing. This allows all on-site supervisors to know if someone is working without an incident vest, they may not have received the shift briefing or checked in. These processes also protect our workers to ensure all incident staff are safe and accounted for at the end of each shift. This is why the incident supervisor to worker ratio is ideally 1:5 during an emergency. These same procedures should be used for contractors and volunteers working at incident sites as well. Included in accountability is equipment tracking. Ideally, this can be done electronically through inventory software. If this luxury is not available, tracking through simple mechanisms such as manually assigned control numbers and label makers is effective. All assigned equipment should be assigned to a supervisor and accounted for daily in the situation reports and any discrepancies noted. This helps protect incident progress and the city in knowing what equipment must be replaced or restocked at the end of an incident. Equipment and personnel hours tracked through accountability reports can also be used by the finance team for federal reimbursement during a presidential declared disaster. Communication and coordination is the next element needed for effective response operations. This element not only activates the highlighted NIMS concepts, it also fulfills the city's legal obligations. Unfortunately, failure to communicate effectively and have proper information management has resulted in more people dying. No one is judging the individuals behind the scenes in this situation, but it is critical that we learn from their mistakes and not make them our own. Recently, there was a record snowstorm in New York. Snowplow drivers were out clearing the roads, and one road was severely blocked with dozens of stranded vehicles. The snowplows went through, and the drivers did not report the stranded vehicles to anyone, assuming someone else already had. The state police did the same thing, assuming the city was already aware. Dozens of these drivers did not survive the temperatures that evening. This information came out of an incident after action review. This is one of the many SAD lessons that support the development and implementation of shift briefings, debriefings, or shift checkouts, where incident staff tell supervisors any information encountered during the shift that may need to be shared. Regardless of how busy a response team is, all emergency personnel have a responsibility to communicate and do so effectively and regularly, including verbal reporting or information submissions to supervisors. A function of the incident command structure is to designate supervisors as responsible for ensuring incident information management, communication, and accountability take place. This supports information flow with minimal disruptions to the rest of the incident staff. The next element needed for effective emergency response efforts is information management. This is one of the most important management functions, and while all assigned personnel have critical roles in information management, the overall responsibility for information management falls under the planning section. The person responsible for maintaining incident information needs to be able to effectively record, track, and manage information updates as they are coming from multiple sources. Ideally, this can be accomplished through the use of computers and monitors. However, it's important that the incident command be prepared for these functions to take place effectively without these luxuries. Effective information management means taking information from multiple sources and integrating it into the common operating picture, so all command and staff can be aware of the information and ensure it's integrated throughout the operational briefings for that operational period. Command and staff also utilize the information in the common operating picture to do incident action planning and ensure the most effective response possible. This is where having a centralized information management and planning process through the use of Incident Command and the Emergency Operations Center ensures life-saving responses are made using the most up-to-date information from many departments and agencies. At the beginning of an incident, the initial phase will focus heavily on assessing the situation and working to develop incident goals or objectives. These objectives will be focused primarily on community lifelines. As part of the initial phase of an incident, staff will be working to collect and share information on various lifelines and emergency response needs in the community to help the incident commander set effective objectives. Once this information has been gathered by staff, the planning meeting takes place, where staff collaborate to identify what support is needed and assign specific resources such as staff and equipment needed to accomplish the plan. At the end of the planning meeting, command and general staff confirm they can support the plan and the current incident objectives, and the incident commander approves the plan. Adam is preparing for the first incident action planning meeting. This meeting is set to take place at the Emergency Operations Center. For smaller incidents, this can take place on site at the Incident Command Post. Part of this meeting will include staff assignments within the Incident Command structure using ICS Form 201. This form will help guide Adam and the staff through the first planning meeting. Remember, it's not Adam's job to know everything. It is his job to keep the process going and people engaged effectively with incident response, coordination, and planning. During large-scale incidents, a written incident action plan is needed and requires multiple forms. While Adam or the incident commander can have various staff assigned to complete these forms, the incident action planning checklist will help ensure nothing is forgotten. These forms will also be kept by the planning section and the finance section. The incident action plan will also be used to develop the operations briefings and incident communication. Large-scale emergencies may also require a multi-agency coordination meeting attended by elected officials and the incident commander to deconflict limited area resources such as cranes for debris removal. There There are two types of public communication during an incident: crisis or urgent life-saving communication, and incident or citywide public communication. The incident command or on-scene first responders are responsible for life-saving urgent communication and working to coordinate to ensure life-saving information is distributed to residents to prevent and reduce damage, injury, and loss of life and property resulting from natural or man-made catastrophes. This includes alerting residents in the path or area of a fire via police loudspeaker, or going door to door to notify residents in immediate danger and in need of evacuation. Incident command and first responders can perform this type of communication without prior approval to ensure an effective life-saving response. However, notification to city leaders is important as soon as possible. Incident command or on-scene first responders are responsible for ensuring effective coordination for urgent life-saving communication, enabling each first responder to exercise disciplined initiative to save lives and property. Incident or citywide communication is primarily the responsibility of the Public Information Officer. Citywide incident communication lets the broader public know critical incident information and updates to ensure adequate individual or business notification of a crisis, potential emergency, or actions needed by residents in response or preparation of such events. The Public Information Officer is responsible for verifying the accuracy of the information collected from various sources, establishing key messages, which should identify the problem, the audience or residents and businesses impacted, and the actions those persons or businesses should take, and for getting approval from those in authority such as the mayor and incident commander. Business and nonprofit communications for Lifeline service partners will be identified as critical and essential. These partners will be provided the opportunity to be included in the city response efforts. Different types of emergencies may lead to different businesses and nonprofits being considered critical in emergency response. One example is a medical emergency, leading to hospitals being critical to response and planning. Another example is a power outage, leading Idaho Power to be critical. The city's goal is to maintain communication with all essential service providers, regardless of their status, critical or essential. The incident command may need to include critical businesses or nonprofit partners into the EOC and the incident action planning process for effective response. Because of this, the city is required to communicate with outside government agencies, critical and essential businesses or nonprofits, and community residents or the public during all stages of an emergency. Thank you for taking time to familiarize with the operations cycle and incident management concepts. This information should not be the only time you deal with these concepts, but the investment in watching the video will make in-person training through exercises more effective.